to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Lamb. Lamb.
Here.
Parnell Cavey.
Here.
Rose.
Here.
Shields.
Here.
Simpson.
Here.
Coin.
Here.
Colasar.
Here.
Reading of the minutes,
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
I move that the minutes of the regular meeting on March 26, 2018, as prepared and submitted by the clerk, be approved.
Second.
Any discussion on the minutes? Will the clerk please call the roll on the approval of the minutes?
Parnell Cavey.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Reports of standing committees. The Finance Committee met prior to the council meeting this evening. Has many items on the agenda, and of course will meet prior to the next council meeting. Health, Safety, and Sanitation Committee, Mr. Colzar.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have no meeting scheduled, nothing to report. There are a couple items on here that have to do with the fire department, but did not go through health safety. Thank you.
Public Properties Committee, Mr. Shields.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled, no report this evening.
Special Legislation Committee, Mr. Lamb.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had a special legislation meeting last week before the neighborhood meeting in Ward 1, Ward 2, and had a really informative, I thought, interesting discussion about the comprehensive plan. Spent about 45 minutes. Planning director was very cooperative and answered all my questions, and since then I've been leafing through the comprehensive plan, and I didn't even myself realize it's about 200 pages long. So it's a bit to get through in one sitting, but we had a good meeting, and I think it was informative for everybody that was there and participated. Thank you.
Thank you. Streets and Sidewalks Committee, Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. There's no meeting scheduled, nothing to report.
Thank you. Water and Utilities Committee, Mrs. Parnell Cavey.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled and nothing to report.
And Emerging Technologies Committee, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing to report, no meeting scheduled.
Okay. Requests for council action. We have several for the Finance Committee. We have 1875 budget amendments for carry forward adjustments. 1876 amend ordinance 3318 Frontier Services Agreement for the IT Department. 1877 fiscal year 2016. It probably should be 18. 2018 fiscal year private home rehab 3439 Grafton Road, Brunswick. It is 16?
Still the
I'm
16.
sorry. It just seemed weird a couple years ago.
Couple years ago.
1878 fiscal year 2018 CHIP grant application. 1879 fiscal year 18 CHIP grant partnership agreement. 1880 donation to Medina County Pell Program Police Department. 1881 ordinance 1718 increased expenditure for USI insurance. 1882 expenditure over 15,000 Residex Turfgrass Parks. 1883 authorized installation of natural gas service to Medina Municipal Airport. And 1884 amending ordinance 17717 2018 budget regarding control appropriations. Reports of municipal officers. Mayor Hamwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. The City of Medina is being showcased in the March and April Cities and Villages magazine from the Ohio Municipal League. The digital version is posted at www.omlohio.org. And from there, if you go to the Cities and Villages tab, then the current version, you'll see a picture of our historic Common Pleas Courthouse on the cover. And there's a article with about 6 full pages on the city and our efforts with economic development. I'd like to thank Economic Development Kimberly Marshall and Barbara Desir, Marketing Director for the City Economic Development Department, for providing the article and photos for this feature. I was interviewed on February 1st by the Executive Director of the Ohio Municipal League. He was actually sent up by Senator Larry Obhoff to learn about some of the things that we were doing differently than most other cities, and he recommended that we share these positive economic development programs and initiatives with the rest of the state, and that's where the article came from. And then just today, Cleveland.com had an article on the most beautiful places in each county in Ohio, and in Medina County, our gazebo at Christmas time was selected for Medina County. Bicentennial events on Sunday, April 15th. at 4 p.m. at Miss Molly's Tea Room. There's a program called Mystery Women in Medina's History, which is going to be historical vignettes. There will be heavy hors d'oeuvres, desserts, wine, beer, tea, and coffee. There are tickets for this event at $25 each, and they're available at Miss Molly's, and seating is limited to 150 folks. The Bicentennial website for further information on bicentennial events is www.medina200.com. And then last but not least, Thursday, May 3rd, we'll have the National Day of Prayer events for our community, which includes a 7 a.m. Williams on the Lake breakfast. It's the only event there's a charge for to cover the cost of the food, and it's $15. There are tickets available at the mayor's office and most of the local churches. Then there's a noon prayer service with students from St. Francis Church on our square. If it rains, we'll go over to the UCC. And the evening service at 7 p.m. is at the United Church of Christ Congregational, which is 217 East Liberty Street. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Durham, Director of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. The representatives from RITA were here on Saturday. I was with them at the rec center. We helped over 200 taxpayers with their RITA tax forms for the City of Medina income tax. There's a couple other items here from originated with finance that I'll talk about when we get there.
Thank you, Mr. Huber, City Law Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Thank you, Chief Kinney, Police Department.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have two issues. The vehicles that were approved in December of 17, all three Ford Explorers, they are now equipped. They're on the road and being used right now. Also, our K9 Nero is going for his certification testing tomorrow. So if all goes well, he'll be on the road certified and working Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you. Does he have any 6 days? Probably not. Okay. None? Okay, good. Mrs. Marshall, Economic Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. On Friday, April 20th, the city, along with Main Street and Medina Chamber of Commerce, we have 6 events planned that day, starting out at 11 a.m. with a grand opening ribbon cutting for Diner 42 at 665 Lafayette Road. I believe that was the former Lantern that was sat vacant for quite some time. Then at 1 o'clock, we will move over to Sandridge Food Corporation for their 16,000 square foot addition manufacturing expansion project. That's at 133 Commerce Drive. 2 o'clock, we'll head back to the square to Sully's for their 10-year anniversary celebration. That's at 117 West Liberty Street. 3 o'clock, we'll head north on North Court to Seidel's Barber Shop in the plaza where the Harbor Freight tools are located. So it's 982 North Court Street. At 4 o'clock, in conjunction with we've been working with the Rotary on the Medina 911 Memorial groundbreaking ceremony at Fire Station 1 on Reagan Parkway. And at 5 o'clock, this is tentative at this time, but it's for 17 Public Square Restaurant and Bar grand opening, which was the former Main Street Cafe. So pretty full agenda that day. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mendel, Planning and Community Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report this evening.
Thank you, Chief Painter, Fire Chief.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Thank you, Mr. Wright, Recreation Center Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just some quick updates from the Medina Rec. The Medina Rec's new spring summer brochure is now available online. It'll be inserted in the Post newspapers this Saturday, and hard copies will be available for pickup at the Rec Center on Sunday. The early bird 10% off sale for the Memorial Outdoor Pool membership starts this Sunday, April 15th, and runs through April 30th, which you can purchase at the Medina Rec. And lastly, our next Rec Advisory Board meeting will be Thursday, April 19th at 7:30 a.m. at the Rec Center. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Worley, Parks and Recreation Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just one thing to report tonight. Next weekend, the Medina Girls High School Girls Softball team and the Medina Girls Softball Association will be hosting a Strikeout for Cancer event at Fred Greenwood Park. That'll be on Saturday. There'll be a number of teams from Medina County out there participating for a good cause. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gladish, Building Official.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Thank you. And Mr. Bacoli, Service Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. Quick reminder, as people already realize, East Smith Road is closed between South Broadway and South Court Street. That's scheduled for the until the end of April. We're hopeful that it'll be a little sooner, with shortened life with respect to that gas line upgrade. And then on US 42, the construction, Harding Street was closed at the intersection of 42 and Harding, North Court and Harding on April 5th, and that's scheduled to remain closed for 30 days. Additionally, Highland Drive will be closed on Monday, April 16th, and that closure is scheduled also for 30 days. So we appreciate the public's patience and understanding as they work toward finishing that project.
Thank you. Notices, communication, petitions. There are none. Unfinished business. There's none. Introduction of visitors. Members of the public will be permitted the opportunity to speak on any issue or concern which pertains to the city during the portion of the council agenda devoted to introduction of visitors. All comments shall be directed to the chair, and a reasonable time limit of approximately 5 minutes will be imposed. If there's a group, please appoint a spokesperson. Speakers should approach the front right microphone and state their name and address so it can be entered into the minutes. Members of the public will be afforded the opportunity to comment on other portions of the meeting as determined by the chair or by a vote of the majority of council members present. Is there anybody that wishes to address council at this time? Oh, yes, sir. We'll go right down the row.
Good evening, Mr. President and council members. My name is Greg Francis. I have a residence at 651 Sturbridge, unit number 1 in the Sturbridge Commons, right off of Wadsworth Road. I'm here to speak about the Ordinance 68-18, the proposed change from residential at 1011 Wadsworth Road to SPD 3, where they're going to build a storage units. I'm opposed to that. I believe that this will negatively impact the property values directly in that vicinity, including Sturbridge Commons. And more importantly, I think once we open this door or set precedents on this, it will be very difficult to deny future changes in the area or anywhere that is residential. So my belief on this is I think we're going to set a bad precedence and open up a can of worms and negatively impact residents in the area.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am?
Hi, Tammy Kirby, 246 West Friendship Street. First, I have a question. I know one of our neighbors is going to try to get a variance to build a larger garage or something on his property, 132 North Huntington. My question is, I'm not adjacent, or I don't connect to his property or touch his property. So how does someone 2 or 3 houses down get notified so I can object to him building a larger building on his property?
Good question. Mr. Mendel?
Typically, you can just leave your name with me, and
Okay.
I know you guys. So you can leave with me, but the property you're referenced to, I did speak with the owner and told him what the maximum allowance is under the code just as of right.
Mhm.
I was given no indication by him that he'd be seeking a variance to do a larger than permitted garage.
Okay.
So I don't know nothing about a imminent BZA application, but if
Okay.
one does come, I'll make a note and let you guys know.
And for future, how would I find out that, because my property doesn't abut, how do you find out about variances that may be going on?
I think you can get on the list of the...
We can put you on the mailing list. Now that would be for the agenda.
Mhm.
It would provide the agenda for the meeting.
Okay.
And then you can come to the meeting and request and provide the comment that you wish to provide.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And of course, I have to promote April 21st, Earth Day, Water Tower 5K, right out here, guys. So I hope you get your tennis shoes on and come out. And if you don't want to run, like I said, volunteer, help us out. So let everybody know. And like I said earlier, we got Cupcake a Day helping us promote, Dan's Dogs helping us promote. Chills has some really good ice cream, the Sweaty Sneakers ice cream. It's fabulous. And the Circles on the Square Finish Line 5K donut, absolutely delicious. So if you don't want to join us on April 21st for the run, at least go to the local square establishments and indulge. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am? Do you want to speak? I don't want to put the pressure on you, but.
Hi, I'm Teresa Fleck. I live at 755 Victoria Circle, and I'm here to oppose the ordinance 6818 for the property on 57 to be changed to commercial. I think it will affect our property values and the traffic. I'm worried about that, and I actually know 2 different parties that have storage units, and the stories I hear about what they deal with this type of property, I really would not like to see that in our neighborhood. I think it'll be something that will snowball if it comes into our neighborhood. Other residential neighborhoods could face the same thing. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else that wishes to address council? Introduction and consideration of ordinances and resolutions. We have ordinance 5918 and ordinance amending ordinance number 17717 passed December 11, 2017. Amendments to the 2018 budget carry forward adjustment.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Mr. President. These are transfers of appropriations between lines.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Rose?
Yes.
Shields?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes.
Coin?
Yes.
Colasar?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Parnell Kaby?
Yes.
Ordinance 59-18 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 6018, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for competitive bids and award a contract to the successful bidder for the construction of a new columbarium wall at Spring Grove Cemetery.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Worley?
Thank you, Mr. President. This ordinance is for us to be able to bid and award the construction of the second columbarium wall at Spring Grove Cemetery. The estimated cost for the construction is approximately $60,000. We're hoping to move forward with this because we're in dire need of more niche space at Spring Grove. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance.
Shields?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes.
Coin?
Yes.
Colasar?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Parnell Kaby?
Yes.
Rose?
Yes.
Ordinance 60-18 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 6118, an ordinance amending section 14101B and C of the codified ordinances of the city of Medina, Ohio, relative to advertising and awarding contracts, Board of Control.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion, Mayor Hamel?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a request to increase the financial threshold for Board of Control from $1,000 to $1,500. The $1,000 level was authorized April 26th of 1999 by Ordinance 9199. And according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics website, that $1,000 in April of 1999 would be the equivalent in today's dollars of $1,498.14. So we rounded it up to the 15. We have not asked for an increase in the upper level, which is the 15,000. That will remain the same to go to finance, and this minor change will permit more effective and efficient processing of expenditures for each of the city departments, as well as finance's handling of same more expeditiously. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll on adoption of the ordinance.
Simpson?
Yes.
Coin?
Yes.
Colasar?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Parnell Kaby?
Yes.
Rose?
Yes.
Shields?
Yes.
Ordinance 61-18 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 6218, ordinance authorizing the purchase of one 2018 Ford F-150 4x4 crew cab pickup truck from Liberty Ford for the fire department.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it at this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on the emergency clause and the ordinance. Chief Painter.
Thank you, Mr. President. This vehicle will be replacing a 2008 Ford Excursion. This truck was on our schedule for replacement, and funds were approved. And we're requesting an emergency clause because the dealers are anticipating a cost increase this month, and we'd like to get the order in before the cost goes up.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll on the emergency clause.
Colasar?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Parnell Kaby?
Yes.
Rose?
Yes.
Shields?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes.
Coin?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance.
Coin.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Parnell Kaby.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Ordinance 62-18 passes 7-0.
Resolution 6318, a resolution authorizing the agreement for grant assistance from the State of Ohio, Ohio Facilities Construction Commission, relative to the Cultural Facilities Community Grant Program for various Medina Town Square improvement projects.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on the emergency clause and the resolution. Mrs. Marshall.
Thank you, Mr. President. This request is to authorize the city to move forward with the State of Ohio fiscal year 2019 and 2020 grant application in the amount of $250,000 to the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission for various Medina Town Square improvements. Right now, we are looking at applying for the following projects: Historic District Fire Engine House Museum renovations, lighting and landscape lighting enhancements for Bicentennial Commons, Historic District crosswalk safety improvements, and possibly additional replacement of Historic District lamp post. We are requesting the emergency clause so we can submit our application as soon as possible to get these projects into the queue at the State of Ohio for review and approval, so they are ready to go when the State Controlling Board meets in July or August to approve funds. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the emergency clause and or the resolution? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Parnell Kaby.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the resolution?
Lamb.
Say yes.
Yes.
Parnell Kaby.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Resolution 63-18 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 6418, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for competitive bids and to award a contract to the successful bidder for the 2018 concrete street repair program.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Pacoli.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the city's annual project to repair slab sections of concrete pavement in various areas of the city. The engineering department is requesting $375,000 for this year's project. $350,000 will come from the 108 fund. The remaining balance, $25,000, will be provided by the water fund, and that's to repair pavement damaged as a result of water breaks through the year.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment? Clerk, please call the roll on adoption of ordinance.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Parnell Kaby.
Yes.
Ordinance 64-18 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 6518, ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for competitive bids and to award a contract to the successful bidder for the 2018 concrete pavement joint sealing program.
Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Pacoli.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the city's annual maintenance project for concrete pavement. Periodic joint sealing preserves pavement and extends its useful life.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment? Clerk, please call the roll on adoption of ordinance.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Parnell Kaby.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Ordinance 65-18 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 6618, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a release and discharge of easement for signal purposes for TRC Medina Shopping Center Investors Ltd.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Pacoli.
Thank you, Mr. President. So in 2006, the Medina Shopping Center donated an easement to the city of Medina to allow the city to install traffic signal equipment on their property at the main entrance. With the construction on the U.S. Corridor 42 project, the main entrance for the shopping center has been moved away from this easement area. So as a result, the signal easement is no longer necessary. ODOT previously acquired the right-of-way at the location of the new entrance in order to accommodate the new traffic signal equipment.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Parnell Kaby.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Ordinance 66-18 passes 7-0.
Resolution 6718, a resolution supporting the city of Medina partnering with Montville Township and Medina Township to apply for a grant by the Ohio Auditor of State for a shared services feasibility study to study the feasibility of establishing a joint fire district.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mayor Hamwell?
Thank you, Mr. President. Councilman Colasar and I represent the city on the Fire District Committee currently. There are representatives from Montville and Medina Townships, and we are applying, all three entities are applying to the auditor of the state for a free assessment and analysis of our fire equipment, fire staffing, fire district, as well as the locations of our fire stations. It's a competitive grant. There's no charge if we're awarded. It's a competitive grant, and we're hoping that with our past collaborations with both LST and fire services, as well as the dispatch center, that the auditor will look on this favorably and provide this for us at no cost. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment? Will the clerk please call the roll on adoption of the resolution?
Coin.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Parnell Kavi.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Resolution 67-18 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 6818, an ordinance rezoning parcel number 2819D09087, located at 1011 Wadsworth Road from R4 multifamily residential to SPD3 special planning district.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Mendel?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. This project had come before the Planning Commission. This request for rezoning had come to the Planning Commission at their regular meeting on January 11th, 2018. It was reviewed for the rezoning from the current zoning of R4 multifamily residential to Special Planning District number 3 to permit the construction of 6 self-storage facility, 6 building self-storage facility on approximately 3.35 acres. The Planning Commission reviewed it, reviewed staff's recommendation, and recommended denial to the City Council for the legislative process.
Thank you.
Well, just
You got
almost
more?
done. Sorry.
Okay. Took a break there. for a second.
Went before the board in your RCA. It outlines the 5 criteria that a special planning district has to meet, findings that it has to meet at least one of those. Planning Commission did not find that it met any of the findings in 111404 of the zoning code. Did have a public hearing on March 26th in front of the City Council, and is now here for ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Colzar?
I'm going to reiterate what I said at the public hearing we had. I don't, just like some of the other property owners in this area, don't believe that this type of use, essentially a commercial use, is adequate for a strictly residential area. Our Planning Commission also believes that as well, and I ask other council members here to vote no on this. I've lived in that neighborhood for practically all my life, and I think the last thing our residents need, our property owners need in that area is storage units. This is a strictly residential area, and I would ask all of council to vote this down. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments?
Mr. President.
Mr. Lamb?
Well, let me be clear about my vote, because I have spoken in favor, rather, of it previously. And my reasoning was this. I watched, I guess, Bill Lyron was the service director of Wadsworth for many, many years, and I watched him work as the master of low-impact growth and development. He had a significant ability to work to have development be of low impact. Senior housing is low impact, low traffic, low infrastructure usage, those kinds of things. He was a master of that. And my look at this was from that direction, that angle, that rather than have apartments built there, the way I saw the development as it was envisioned was a residential scale, and it would be of a very low impact. It wouldn't be another school building. It wouldn't have any significant impact on our infrastructure, our police, our fire, whoever. I did talk to the owner of the property a few weeks ago, and told him that I was going to support, I was going to vote no. I've talked to Councilman Colasar. He expressed to me the concern of the people that live in that area. I have while I believe in low impact, I also think that there's a sanctity to residential areas and neighborhoods that is key, because one thing you can't do, you can't move your house. This is where you live. It's kind of the same way I look at trees. Trees don't have legs and feet, and they just have to deal with whatever comes their way. And so I think that, while I had an opinion that varied from Councilman Colasar's and some other people on council and the Planning Commission, I understand that semi kind of sanctity of where you live, because you are there and that is your investment. And if that's an issue or a problem, then I think that what we always need to do is do the right thing with regard to neighborhoods. So I will also, as I told the owner of the property, be voting no.
Thank you. Any further comments? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of ordinance?
Colasar.
No.
Lamb.
No.
Parnell Kaby.
No.
Rose.
No.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
No.
Coin.
No.
Okay, so we have one. Ordinance 68-18 fails. 1 yea, 6 nays.
Ordinance 6918, ordinance amending ordinance number 3318 passed February 26, 2018, relative to the Frontier Services Agreement with Frontier Communications.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on the emergency clause and the ordinance. Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Mr. President. The council passed the agreement with Frontier that we acquired these. This is the service, and the reason for the emergency clause is this is a temporary promotion that saves us this money. We have to agree to a 3-year contract, but it saves us $262 a month, so $9,400 over the course of the contract.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the emergency clause and or the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Parnell Kaby.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Lamb.
Yes.
Parnell Kaby.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Ordinance 69-18 passes 7-0.
Resolution 70-18, a resolution objecting to the liquor permit transfer from Medina Steakhouse, Inc., doing business as Medina Steakhouse and Saloon and Porch and Patio, to Recovery Center of Medina County, Serenity Restaurant, Porch and Patio, 538 West Liberty Street.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on the emergency clause and or the resolution. Mr. Huber?
Thank you, Mr. President. There's been a request presented by the Recovery Center of Medina County Serenity Restaurant for the transfer of a liquor permit. I know at the last council meeting, council voted, I think by majority, to object. If there is to be an objection, we have to pass a resolution stating the grounds for objection, and that resolution has to be sent down to the board for the State of Ohio Liquor Board by no later than April 19th, 2018. I drafted the resolution. I think Ms. Patton passed out a revised document that I think you have. The document I have is the old one. So hopefully you've got the right resolution. That's the resolution that sets out the grounds for objection, and if you're going to object, you've got to pass it today.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the resolution or an emergency clause? I think we spoke about this a little bit, and new information is coming out. I think we have to move forward with whatever way you want to vote on this, whether to approve the resolution objecting to the permit or not approve it, not objecting to the permit transfer. But I think it's important that maybe at the next council meeting we have a kind of a meeting, or have a special council meeting, one of the two, just to get more clarification on the facts related to the operations located at Serenity, because I think more and more information is coming out that we didn't have before, that I think it's important that the public understand and be privy to. So I think what we're going to try to do, at least what I'll try to do, is try to schedule a meeting, whether it be prior to or at the next council meeting, to allow an opportunity to get a full briefing on the facts associated with the operations at the recovery center, and what actually is happening there as far as recovery meetings, and if there's recovery meetings at another location, and what actually is happening there with respect to the operation of the restaurant and the serving of alcohol at that restaurant. I think that would be important for everybody to understand that, know that, and have all the facts available to them. Yes, Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I again will be voting yes, and I will not go into a lengthy explanation as I did last meeting. Pardon? I'll be voting no, excuse me. I'll be voting no on the objection, as I did our last meeting. And the main reason is I think that the recovery center is so important, the recovery of these individuals, which, in my opinion, over the last several years, the major problem has been heroin, cocaine, and methamphetamines, where people may only have tried it one time and did not survive. It's such an epidemic. This is the first thing in our county that's because of a grant that the courts obtained, that the grant probably will only last approximately 3 years, maybe less, maybe a little bit longer. But to sustain that program continuing, I would hope that the Serenity Restaurant, although they will be serving alcohol, will be successful and be able to sustain the recovery effort for these individuals that are in desperate need. So I will be voting no. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment?
Mr. President?
Mr. Lamb?
I voted no. I voted to deny the permit at the last council meeting, and I based that vote on a couple things I think that I mentioned. One of them was my own personal experience, my understanding of the incompatibility of being in proximity of alcohol or something you're addicted to while you're trying to break that addiction. I had an opportunity over the weekend to go to the recovery program at the UCC Church in Medina, the community dinner, and during the time I was there, I spent about an hour talking to the director of the recovery center, that's asked for the liquor permit. And my vote last time was based on exactly what I said, my personal experience and my understanding of what was going on at the center. And I still have questions, and I guess I probably still have doubts. But like Benjamin Franklin said, sometimes we have to doubt ourselves as well. And after talking to the director and the folks that were there, it became clear to me that there was more of a separation than I understood there to be. It isn't really just a wave back and forth of folks. It is a separation, supervised, and really looked like an interesting concept in order to address recovery at the same time to help build skills for people to work their way into the workforce and be employed. Sometimes I think a consistency, it's not about you don't want a foolish consistency, and I think our objective always is to get information that we can, as the president of the council said, and if we can gain more information, maybe we can make better choices and ground our votes in reality and not always in just how we perceive things to be. So I will be voting like Councilman Simpson tonight.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Mr. Colzar.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will be voting to object the liquor permit transfer, as I did before. I still do not believe that when we're trying to put in place a place of sobriety, less temptation for these people trying to change their lives, I think the last thing you need to do is put alcohol in the picture. I know some might disagree with me. I understand the epidemic we're having with the heroin and essentially the heroin, but to me, it's all a drug, whether it's legal or not. The temptation's there. I have personal experiences with friends and family that the alcohol started it, and when you're somebody that is so delicate at this point, trying to regain their life, trying to get back on their feet, to waive the alcohol in there as an option every day, I struggle with, and I cannot support that. And I would hope that we have a community that comes together for supporting these essentially addicts trying to get back on their feet, and then we'll come to this restaurant even though it doesn't serve alcohol. I think we rant and rave about a great community we have. These people are trying to get on their feet. They reached out to the community for support, and I think alcohol is just not the right choice. So I will be voting to object. Thank you.
Any further discussion or comment? Will the clerk please call the roll on the emergency clause?
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
No.
Coin.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
No.
Parnell Kaby.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Motion passes 5 yeas, 2 nay.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the resolution?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
No.
Coin.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
No.
Parnell Kaby.
Yes.
Resolution 70-18 passes 5 yeas, 2 nays.
Council comments.
Mr. President?
Mr. Colzar.
Real quick here, it was announced earlier, Earth Day is around the corner. It falls on actually April 22nd, but the Medina County Park District will be having their Earth Day Festival Saturday, April 21st, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Buffalo Creek Retreat at 8708 Hubbard Valley Road in Seville. I just urge residents in the city take part in some of our local marathon going on, but also get a chance to go out and see what the county park puts together for families, especially to learn more about your environment. Every year we try to do, the city of Medina and I try to put together something to recognize Earth Day as well, because we all need a clean environment to survive. And this year we are going to have something on April 28th, which is the following Saturday. And at Fire Station 1, we're going to be planting trees along Reagan Parkway, it'll be the west side of Court Street. And we're going to meet again at Fire Station 1 at 9 a.m. And that is 300 West Reagan Parkway. And with the Parks Department, they're going to prep the areas for the tree plantings. I think they're going to auger the holes out. So you're not going to have to do a whole bunch of hard labor, but you will have to help us put the trees in properly, refill, and it'll be light labor. So bring your old yard clothes, or whatever you usually wear to work in the yard. And these trees are being replaced from another epidemic we had in reference to the ash borer bug that came through and killed all of our ash trees. So these are replacing a lot of those trees on Reagan Parkway. And I think we all know the vital role trees play in our environment, and some might not. But come on out. If you have any questions, feel free to call me, contact Parks Department. Email addresses are on the website. So I urge residents to get involved in their community and come on out and make a difference. Thank you.
Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Colasar for his continued work, not only just on Earth Day, but throughout the year. Well, I affectionately call him our tree hugger. It's good spirits. Second, I would just, again, with our political environment, not locally, not even mainly for our state, but nationally, I would ask everybody to be kind to one another. It's so important. Just remember, a kind word to somebody goes a long way. Lastly, I want to thank Judge Kimbler and Judge Collier for their efforts with the drug court in Medina County and obtaining this grant for the recovery center. My wife and I did have the privilege last week of going to Serenity Restaurant and had a wonderful meal. The staff there was so cordial, excited about their work, and I just hope and pray that the restaurant is going to be successful and be able to sustain the recovery program that is going on now. I know that there's objections with alcohol, but I just feel it's so important since we do have some wonderful social services in Medina County, alternative paths. There's a number of them throughout the county. But for a true recovery program, this is the first in our county, and I just hope and pray that it's successful. So if you have time, stop out at Serenity. The food is wonderful. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any other additional council comments?
Mr. President?
Mr. Rose?
Thank you. I have two things. Number one, I had a very pleasant conversation with Larry Oboff over the weekend. Some of you remember several months ago, probably December of 16, I think it was, I sat here and blasted him and several members of the Ohio Senate for approving the cell tower bill that allowed them to put cell towers wherever they wanted to. Senator Oboff approached me this weekend and told me that going through the Senate right now is a bill to limit those controls. The cell phone tower companies have to work with the cities on their placement, where we can put them, where they can't put them. So thank you, Senator Oboff. I want to say that publicly so that everybody knows that we do appreciate the work that he's put in there, and a number of people have also done a lot of work to make this happen. And one of those people, I think, was a friend of mine, Jules Giron. I don't know if you saw him on TV back when they tried to put a telephone pole in his front yard during the wintertime. That disappeared. So I want to thank him for doing what he does best, raising a ruckus. And to the mayor and Pat Patton and anybody who contributed to making sure that didn't go through. I do appreciate that work. And then many years ago, a young little lady came into my wife's and my life. Today's her birthday. I'm not going to say how many years, but happy birthday, Jennifer.
Thank you. Any additional council comments?
Mr. President.
Mrs. Parnell-Cavey?
If I just may, I am the Vice President for Faith in Action. We are having our annual What Women Want event that is coming up on April 12th. All of the funds that are used for that go towards transportation for the elderly in Medina County. It's a great fundraiser. We also have Ladies' Night Out happening on the square, also April 12th at 6 p.m., and Castle Noel is having Santa Day on May 12th. So if you're looking around Medina in May and you see a whole bunch of Santa Clauses, you'll know why. Because last time we were all a little confused. So just know that is going on, and that's all from me.
Thank you. Any other council comments? I have two. Just remember, on Tuesday's tax day. Everybody likes that day. But more importantly, on Wednesday is our first budget meeting. So hopefully everybody will be able to join us and start our budgets for 2018. With that said, there'll be food there, yes.
This Wednesday,
Next Wednesday, I'm sorry, the 18th. This Wednesday is the 11th. With that said, the meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I say that?